Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Kevin, what is going on, sir? Good to see you.
Hello, Brian. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. We're nice and cozy here, so we can all fit in the frame here of the camera, but I think it's going to be a great show today.
And notice I said today and not tonight.
Right, today. Yeah, absolutely.
And why is that?
Well, we have to be flexible,
Absolutely.
You know? Sometimes other engagements come up.
That's right. And here we are. Obviously, we have some guests with us today for those of you who are watching and not just listening. And this is going to be a fun ride. I'm looking forward to it.
That's what she said.
Wow, there we go.
I didn't realize you're going to throw me a softball like that so early in the program.
Oh, my goodness. Robin, I have to actually say one thing to you that Robin said. What did I say? How did I start this? Robin, I have to tell you something that Carrick said, to me a few days ago that I haven't told you about. I meant to, but you weren't there and I didn't get to share this. He and I were talking about other business, and he said to me, one of the things that I got to get this right. I'm not going to get it exactly right. The two things I adore in life, no, there's one thing that I adore not as much as my wife, and that is food. It was a very nice compliment. I don't know if you remember saying that.
I do, yeah.
And I totally botched how that came out.
So exactly what did you say?
What did you say?
I think I said something along the lines of there are two things that I'm obsessed with. One, my wife. The other is food.
Food, there we go.
Yeah.
Nice. See that?
I'll take it in writing. Give it to me in writing.
There you
get
go.
a transcript from the show notes today.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Carrick and Robin Longley. They are a couple who own a local fitness studio. Is that the right way to say it?
Boutique fitness studio, but yes.
A boutique fitness studio called SWEAT Fredericksburg.
Yeah, so the short answer is no, that was not the right way to say it.
Right, thank you. And just by way of introducing you to our guests today, quick story about how Paula and I, my wife and I, met Robin and Carrick. We actually met Robin first. Robin was a fitness coach at a not-to-be-named other fitness studio that Paula and I were attending at the time. And the thing that we noticed about Robin is that she was very quiet and demure and sort of laid back when you would come in and take her classes. Not.
I was going to say, who are you describing?
And she turned out to be a lot of fun as a coach. And then that came to an unfortunate end, although for us it turned out to be quite fortunate because they decided, she and Carrick, her husband, decided to open up their own gym. And it is killing it. It is, and I mean this honestly, it is the best gym I've ever been in. It's not the biggest, but it's the best.
Boutique fitness studio, but that's okay.
It is the most outstanding boutique fitness studio that I have ever seen. The equipment, the classes, the coaching that happens in all of the various offerings that you guys have, and I'm sure that will come out. But the reason that we wanted to have you on is because as I've gotten to know you, and by the way, Paula, my wife, teaches spin, or I guess cycle officially, right?
Yeah.
She's one of the cycle instructors at SWEAT Fredericksburg.
Monday and Tuesday night and Sunday morning.
Right. There you go.
There's your plug.
There you go, Paula. They as I got to know them more and more through the association of just going to the gym, I found out that these are great people with lots of interesting aspects to their life, and we wanted to explore that a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
So welcome. Glad you're here, Bryant. What do you think?
I'm excited. I just had a chance to meet you guys a little while ago, and have heard the great things that Kevin has to say about you, and certainly interested to hear more of what you guys have going on. And I have no doubt you have some beneficial information for our viewers and listeners.
So whose idea was it to open a gym anyway? Was it both of yours or what? How did that happen?
I think it's probably Robin at the that started some of the conversation, but we had always been riffing back and forth on wouldn't it be nice if we had our own place.
Riffing.
Yeah,
There we
were
go.
just having this conversation.
I told you, he's like, ugh.
Yeah, so we were
speaks so great.
So we were in we were in a pool. Had a few beverages at the time, and we were talking about
Always our
all
best
the great,
ideas.
yeah. We were talking about all the things that we really liked about different studios over the years and different experiences we've had. I came out of my background was I did CrossFit for a long time, then I did Olympic lifting, then I got injured, and really had not been back in any kind of gym or facility for some time. And then when I met Robin and she was at this other studio, I started going to workouts there, primarily just to hang around her, not actually to do the workouts. But in that, it sort of rekindled my love for getting back into group fitness. And the rower, actually in particular, I rowed throughout high school and really missed doing rowing. And so the more she and I talked about it, we said, hey, we had this idea of coming up with this concept that actually takes a little bit of the best ideas from all the different places we've seen, and what if we actually just roll it all in one? Nothing like that exists in the area. Let's see what it would look like. And that was kind of where the idea was born.
Yeah. I'm a group fitness whore, so I like,
Woo.
yeah, literally. You could pay me, or I'll pay you because it's so damn expensive. But I used to do all sorts of group fitness things, and I thought always it would be awesome to like walk into, and all the places were always not to my standard of clean, or like, oh, I could change this, or if it only had this. So I always thought it'd be cool to walk into this sleek lobby and, oh, hi, you're gonna go do cycle, cool, to your left. Oh, you wanna do TRX to the right. But it's all class-based. So you just show up, shut up, do the work, and get the hell out. No, it's all programmed for you. So we kind of came up with, oh, it'd be awesome to have just like a main place and then all these little things about it.
So all of that
So
makes
income
sense.
sweat.
Yeah, the best of everything in gyms is really there. And I mean, for those of you who are in a position where you can actually go and check this place out, you need to do it. You will not be disappointed. And I'll add one more thing. Other than all the classes that they also have what they call the lab. And the lab is just a room that has every kind of equipment you could ever want. You just go in there and do your own thing for as long as you want.
Yeah, it started off as Carrick's little playground so that we could have barbell and cable machine, but it's not like it's a space. I don't know how many what's the square footage on the room?
Currently it's about 700. We're doubling it over the next 3 weeks.
We're gonna expand, but it has just one of everything. So you can go in there if you want personal training, you can go in there, or if you just wanna throw around for a little bit before a class, you can go in there. Kevin goes in there, throws around some 10-pound weights.
Usually after I finish benching my 450, I go for just to kind of take it easy with the 10-pound weights, right? Right.
We have cameras.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some of that video footage. Kevin in his spandex.
He wears really short spandex.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, there we go.
Mental picture.
So here's a couple other things I want to mention about first Carrick and then Robin. Carrick, in addition to being an IT guru, a gym fitness boutique fitness owner, and just an all-around good guy, he's also a doctor. Dr. Carrick received his PhD from Naval Postgraduate School in Information Sciences. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And Robin, one of the things that I remember about the early meeting of you was before one of the classes in your previous life, you had described how you went through this process of weight loss.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy thing to do.
I'm no doctor, but yeah.
Right, but you're a doctor of weight loss because you went through that and you're living the dream by keeping it off, right? So yeah, tell us about that journey a little bit.
Of marrying a doctor?
No,
or-
no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll get to that part
We'll
later.
We'll get to that, yeah, right.
No, I was always heavy pretty much my whole life. My mom was always heavy, kind of went up and down in her weight. And I lost my dad when I was 20 years old, and then watched my mom kind of go downhill from there. And then my mom passed away right after I had my second child. And I just did not want to be that. So it was kind of like an awakening. She was unhealthy. She had cancer anyways, but she just never took the time to come out better than she went in. And something clicked in me where I just never wanted to be that.
Okay.
And so I started working out. I don't watch what I eat because it's life. I drink. I have kids. I went through a divorce. Both my parents passed away. I drink. I eat pizza.
You've been through some shit.
I've been through some shit, but I always portion control and found that if you just put in an hour of work a day, 5 days a week, you got it.
Okay.
Don't make excuses. I would go at 5 a.m. when my kids were still sleeping, and I would go after. Just no excuses. You just go, show up, shut up, do the work, and then have that hour for yourself. So it was more of a mental thing for me. So whenever anybody asks me some fitness questions, I'm like, to be honest, fitness is not my passion. I like the outcome of it, but it's more of a mental game for me. Whereas for Carrick, he likes more of the science behind the fitness. I'm more the mental game.
I love the show up, shut up, and do the work.
That's my motto.
Yeah, I mean, you should sell that as a template. You could apply that to many aspects of your life. Just show up, shut up, and do the work.
Yeah, it's 1 hour. You always have people that will not join because I don't have the time. And I'm thinking, literally, you don't have 1 hour. And I get it. You have kids. I have kids. Where you have to have a good support system too. So you're telling me your husband, who says that he supports your, anything, won't just quote watch your kids, which is another thing I hate. Your parenting, but still won't let you leave the home for one.
You
fucking
cannot babysit
hour.
your own children.
Yeah, I always love when people are like, "Well, where are the kids?" I'm like, "With their dad." Like, what do you mean where are the kids? Like, they're not by themselves. But I'm just 1 hour. And everything that we do at Sweat, especially our HIIT class, it's methodically programmed so you can come back day after day. So you're never overworking or underworking anything, and you hit every single body thing within the week. So one day it might be arms and shoulders. You don't have to go to the gym for 3 hours and do that. Just come take a damn class. 1 hour. You can leave early because there's a cool down. It's 45 minutes really with a warm up and a cool down at the end. So I always cringe at the, I don't have the time because I'm also busy. We have 6 kids between the two of us. He works a full-time job where he's 10 hours a day. I'm working full-time. We have ex-spouses we have to deal with, which is a whole other shit show. So you're telling me you don't have 1 damn hour that you can't come here,
Yeah. People actually can't watch the video right now because they're kind of ducking their heads down into their lap.
Because they also have
In
ex-spouses
shame.
they have to deal
No,
with.
in shame because they're not making time.
Well, yeah, you can go. People are like, well, I go for walks. I'm like, no, you have to work out. You need to lift weights. You need to just get your heart rate up for 1 freaking hour and then go home and deal with whatever the hell is at home. The cool part is, for me at least, is when you go and take a class, that's 1 hour for yourself. No one's bothering you. Don't bring you're not texting. People are like, oh, I have a Peloton. Cool. What happens when you get a text? You end up you stop your ride and you're writing back and whatever. So just come. It's 1 hour. Leave your cell phone in your locker, clear your head, and then leave.
So one of the things that I like about Sweat is you guys have gotten after it. And what I mean by that is you've been around for how long? How long have you been open, actually?
We had our soft launch November 1st and officially opened our doors on November 7th.
Okay, so
6 months at best right now.
You are open 6 months,
yeah.
And it is the place. It is when it comes to fitness, it is the talk of the town. That is really unusual for something like that to happen. But not only that, it's propagating, and so that doesn't happen by accident. Like I said, what is it that you're doing to make this place work? Is it the marketing? Is it the attracting the right client. What do you attribute your success to so far?
I think it's all of
Combo.
the above. Right. I think it's all of the above. We opened we opened a studio in the middle of a pandemic at probably the worst time that you could actually open something that was where people get together and congregate. We started it though with the idea that COVID wasn't going anywhere, that this was the new normal, and we actually designed our 60 studio, which is our hit class, with that in mind, where everyone had their own personal space, about a 9x9 square.
You have to explain HIT, by the way.
So
That doesn't
high intensity interval training.
There we
It
go.
basically
There we
just
go.
mixes
There's
a
the
combination of weights, calisthenics, metabolic conditioning, upper lower body strength training, et cetera, where basically every single workout is different, and you're varying rep counts, you're varying weights, you're varying duration of intensity. We paired that with a concept to rower, and then we said, all right, everybody's got a 9x9 space. So that was part of it, was let's physically space out so that even when restrictions were put in place that reduced the overall capacity of any space,
And you're not sharing weights.
still be good.
You're not transitioning
Yeah.
to another spot. You're just
so that was
in your zone.
So I would say that's part of it. Then we have a varied types of classes. So there's something there for everyone. If you don't like HIIT, you can do cycle. If you don't like cycle, you can do bar. If you don't like bar, you can do yoga. If you don't like that, you can do row. And if you don't like those, you're probably not going to find what you're looking for in a studio. No, it's serious. So we have a little bit for everyone. And then, we knew that when you looked at this area, when we looked at and actually did sort of the market research, and we said, look, there is not really there's CrossFit, several CrossFit places, but CrossFit targets very specific demographic,
Yeah.
usually people in their 20s and that are highly competitive. And we said, well, that really doesn't scale for this area and doesn't scale everywhere.
Right.
That's not us, Kevin.
Yeah.
There's a CrossFit box on every corner.
Just about
too,
every
so-
corner. And
Not the 20s part, anyways.
Yeah, and so that was part of it. So addressing a market need that wasn't there, and then we have, there's a lot of marketing that goes on behind the scenes, and so I was able to take what I'd learned from the work that I do in for the companies that I've worked for over the last several years, and poured a lot into the automation and marketing side in the back end. All of that, though,
We might have to talk to you more about that.
all of that though just gets people in
Seriously.
the door. Honestly, the answer is what is the secret sauce? It's this lady. Like once you actually get to the door
I didn't know he was gonna
of
say
Sweat, once you get to the actual door of Sweat, she's probably one of the first people you'll meet. And if you don't meet her on the first day, you'll meet her within the first couple of days. And everything there is genuine and authentic. And I think that's really what it is. Like we're not.
He calls me the carnival barker.
Yeah.
That is true.
I would
That
agree
is
with
true.
that.
Yeah. So she's usually right up front yelling "Welcome to Sweat," getting people excited about the workouts. Is heavily involved. We are there quite often. We're there pretty much 7 days a week in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's
By do you mean me or
I mean you.
'cause you're not there.
Not as
seven
much.
days.
No.
I just putting that
Right.
out there to all of our
Just
fans.
need to clarify
Just
that.
to
right?
putting it out there
Just
to
to
our
be clear.
fans.
And I think just being very genuine and being very inclusive. Like for us, it was always about let's build a place where everyone can be proud to go to. And there's no judgment. It doesn't matter if you're 75 years old or 15 years old.
You
if
can have
you
a
weigh
gray
400
beard
pounds
if
or
you
you weigh
want.
40. It does not matter to us. And it was all about everyone has their own baggage. Just come in the door, take the first step, and then we'll go from there.
Just show up, shut up. But my whole thing is I've gone through. Obviously, I'm 37, gonna be 38 years old. I have been through a lot, more so than people my own age, and I don't need the bullying. I don't need the bullshit. Like, if you're gonna I like the community aspect of we are like-minded people wanting like-minded results or doing like-minded things, but like any of the other BS, I don't welcome it. So the weird clickiness of people talking about people, like I've had people that have come into Sweat and they're like, well, I don't know if I can take classes because I need to get into shape first. I'm like, that's why you come here. Like, hello. So I don't like that people think, not about Sweat, but just in general, that they can't go to a studio or take classes because they're not in like their peak condition. We have 65-year-olds, 20-year-olds, like, and everybody in between, and everything is scalable. So whether you're first starting out or you're an athlete or, the UMW lacrosse team, soccer team, they all come to Sweat. But then you also have the stay-at-home moms that drop their kids off and they're coming to work out. Then at night, you have the commuters, 5 a.m., you have the commuters that are going to work all day in various jobs and various athletic levels. And that's what I love about it is we all have this one thing in common. We can bitch about, oh, that was a tough one, or, the other day, Carrick's automation skipped one minor thing, and the workout that was posted for the next day wasn't what was the workout. I got all these messages like, hey, and I'm like, all right, so it's funny because I can be myself. Well, because I own the place. I can be myself, and that's what he was saying. Like, you come in, I'm like, hey, why aren't you a member yet? Well, why not? We don't have any contracts. We don't do the you have to give us 60 days notice plus the vial of blood and your firstborn before you can ever even think about quitting. But then you have to email it and send it in and stamp it and notarize
that was the other
it.
thing. I was going to say
such bullshit.
Not only did we take all the things we loved, but we took all the things we hated and we said we will not do that. I refuse to do lock-ins. I refuse to do contracts. It's nonsense. And if the place that you're at now is using a contract to lock you in, it's not in your best interest to stay there.
If you don't want to, be there, I don't want to take. Yeah, if you don't want to be there, I don't want to take your money. That's blood diamonds.
I look at it this way: right. by not using contracts, that it's our commitment to you that we will continue to provide the same quality of instruction and cleanliness and top-notch service from day one. And if we don't, you can walk away, and that's on us.
Yeah, Carrick and I are in there cleaning toilets. We're, I especially in fitness, I've gone to I can't even tell you, a crap ton of places. Very rarely do you see the owner actually there, or that people can be like, hey, Carrick, can you fix my spin shoe for me? As he's briefing the Secretary of State on some big thing in his office, because he'll work out of sweat sometimes. So I'm like, I like that people feel that they can, it's both a blessing and a curse, because you still have those people that, bring the dumb things. But I like that people can say, oh, Robin, I'd love to see blank. And I'm like, cool, we're a self-funded, not a corporate place. Yeah, let's try that class out, or let's add that to it or something. So it's kind of community-based in the sense where we're taking your opinions into consideration as well.
So I told you earlier I was going to ask you this question, but I'm watching the dynamic of you two back and forth, and it's outstanding. What's it like to work as a husband and wife team in the same business?
Well, first off, if you're a Myers-Briggs fan, Carrick is to a T an ENTJ. An INTJ to a T. If you look it up, come with data, come with purpose, and then close the door on your way out after I tell you you're wrong and show you with data, and then you're crying and you leave. I'm also an NTJ, but I'm an ENTJ. So he's the introvert to my extrovert. I basically sell all the memberships, do all the, hey, how's it going? And then I just give him the paperwork, and he does all the paperwork, files it, and puts it away, and make sure everything runs smoothly. He does all the back stuff. So
yeah, it's been a good. So my parents worked together. My dad was a CPA, mom was an accountant, worked for him. So I saw that it was possible.
Right. Yeah,
I've seen a successful model.
My parents also both worked together.
And they work together as well. So I think that.
Yeah, there's a lot to that, right?
Well,
so that's
my dad was a doctor, and my mom was his front lady, so that he didn't have to pay somebody. So I'm not sure how much work she actually did that he wasn't behind her fixing, which is also our relationship where. Hey, Carrick, I did this wrong, but I know you can fix it.
But it's a really good balance, because she's basically runs all the front of the house stuff. In addition to coaching quite a few of the classes and running the staff, I do all the back end. So all the automations, all the website design, the marketing, the billing, the account, all the backside of the business. I handle that, and it's a really good back and forth, because I'll ask questions. What does this mean? She's like, oh, she came in, she wanted this, blah blah blah, and it works out really well.
I don't know how to do any of that stuff.
All right,
I don't have the personality.
And I don't care to.
Right. Yeah. So what tips could you offer to other married couples?
Just the tip.
Yeah, how many? No limit here.
Honestly, I think Carrick and I are a very unique couple in the sense that we're a second marriage, so we don't tiptoe around each other the way other people might in their marriage or in their life. If I have a problem or there's something members have heard me be like, Carrick, what the fuck? What is, and we're not fake. We don't do anything for show. I think the biggest thing is you have to be able to have the tough conversations and not tiptoe around any of them. You know, I know he loves me. He knows I love him, but we can be all business, and you have to take, you know, anything personal out of it, kind of thing. So if he knows something's gonna bother me, just tell me, and then I'll bitch at you, and then you'll deal with it, and then we'll get to the bottom of it.
Well, you used the word authentic earlier. I think it was Carrick that used it.
It sounds like a character.
And you know, I mean, that's exactly what you're doing, right? So in business and in life, you're both authentic people.
Oh,
and
100%.
Yeah, that's cool.
I spent the majority of my 20s and 30s being what everybody else thought I should be, or what my mother thought I should be, or what, you know, I lived in DC before making the plunge to good old Fredericksburg. So being that kind of Stepford style person. So after I met Carrick and being in a second marriage, lost a shit ton of friends. You know, you get divorced and the reasons behind it, and losing family and friends and all the people that really don't matter in between. Carrick and I both, I think, were like, we're just going to be ourselves, and that's it. And if we only, at the end of the day, if we only hang out with each other, good, because that's really the only company that matters. So
Nice.
I'm not fake even in the slightest. So if I'm in a mood, you know it. And if it's because of Carrick, you also know that. 'Cause
You put up warning signs
Yeah.
at Sweat?
I'm very rarely.
Is there like different lights,
Kind of.
you know, on
Kind
the
of.
exterior,
I'm
so
very
people know,
rarely-
be
right.
aware.
Yeah, I'm very rarely
Be
in
warned.
like a bad mood. I'm very rarely in a mood. There's definitely things that set me off that are never really to do with Sweat. It's usually external things.
Right.
Remember I said those ex-spouses. That's like that sometimes is a trigger, but you know what? It just so happens when you work out, your endorphins are high, and that's just what we do. We throw down and then move on.
Well, that's I mean, I think that's the great thing about. In reality, Sweat is a passion of ours. Owning something of our own and being very committed and passionate to it. I don't ever walk in there and think, God, another day here.
You're working for the man.
Yeah, never.
Right.
Never do I feel that way.
I mean, I am.
Yeah,
This man.
Right.
But
You're good with that,
and so
though.
you talk about
I get perks.
you talk about, oh, well, see, we're in there cleaning toilets, or we've got this stupid air conditioning unit that leaked all over the place and it's ruined ceiling tiles. I'll be in there cutting ceiling tiles. I mean,
Yeah.
I roll the rubber flooring. We painted the walls. Like, we put a lot of time, sweat, and into the place, and I think it shows. I mean, I think that's part of it as well. On top of being authentic, like, we actually are legitimately vested in the success
Yeah.
of that.
We spend every other weekend deep cleaning the studio ourselves. So last class will end at 12 o'clock or 11:45. Everyone's gone. We throw on whatever music we're into at the moment, and he's like using the big janitor thing, like
It's
pushing
one of
it.
that's
That's his
The
favorite.
big
That's my
janitor
favorite-
thing?
Yeah,
Is it
that
a-
is his best purchase. It's like that cleans the floors.
from like
The bu-
global.
is it a
Industrials.
buffer or is it a-
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a big. Oh yeah, the big
I-
mop with a squeegee built in there.
Yeah,
I'm like,
so
this
I'm
is
in there.
Fantastic.
I'm in there.
Buffer races? Do you have buffer races?
Well, we only have one.
We only have one.
And I don't allow anyone else to touch it. I'm over there pushing
I can't
it.
even put it. It pushes me. I'm small, but I mop the floors. I'll spray down all the equipment. Wipe every. I mean, I wipe down every single bike underneath. Like, and
But
we
it's-
know. So our house, if you came to our house, you literally at any given time you can eat off the floors. We run Sweat the same way we run our house, and so when you come in there, I like that people are like, oh, it's clean. I'm like, well, it fucking should be. Like there's people in and out of here, and so we run it the same way we run our household. And so when I walk in there, I never want to be like, ugh.
All right, I got to ask a question.
Yeah.
I got because if I can sit here quietly the whole time and just let you guys go, which is wonderful, actually. I love that. And Bryant's correct when he says the banter, watching you guys banter back and forth is quite fun. But the thing that's clear to everybody is both of you have high energy. It's different. Your energies are different, but they're both high. So here's the question. And I want each of you to answer it. Carrick, what drives you? Robin, what drives you? When you boil it all down and you think about, I am where I am in my life, I'm doing what I'm doing, what is it that gets you up every morning and drives you today? And what do you see that in the future? And Robin, I want you to answer the same question.
Yeah, I'd say maybe it's a little bit of the middle child syndrome,
That's both
where
of
I
us.
got to be better than everyone else all the time, always. So there's a little bit of that, but in general, it was I found myself finding out what I'm really good at and what I'm passionate about, and the intersection of those two, that's where I spend my energy.
Okay.
And so it was, so it's that is
So
the thing
good.
that I spend. I would say that's probably the distilled answer is find what you're really good at and find what you're passionate at, and where those two intersect, that's where you invest your time and energy.
Never work another day in your life, right? When you combine those two.
Yeah, I mean,
attributes.
Robin always says, "Oh, you work 10, 12-hour days." And yeah, that's true, but like no part of that is a miserable experience.
Feels like
for me.
work,
It doesn't
right.
feel like it. No.
Right. Robin?
I wish you'd have sent these ahead of time.
No way. Come on.
That's part of the fun,
I
the
know.
impromptu
Out with
nature of it.
I'm also a middle child, so I have I'm from your typical whatever stereotype you know of a northern Jewish family. So the golden boy was the firstborn, so my brother. Then you have the baby, my sister, and then you have the black sheep in the middle. So I spent all the way through my divorce. So I got divorced at 35. Competing with these two people on whatever. And so finally I'm at a point in my life where I just don't give a shit anymore. I've always been told I'd be good at sales. I just didn't know what to sell. I could sell ice to an Eskimo as long as I eat that ice, I enjoy that ice, and I use that ice on a daily basis. So when I got into fitness, again, for the mental aspect of it and telling a story of, I can relate to that 30 to 45-year-old woman that kind of feels that they've lost themselves. I can sell that to them. So I think what drives me is just making other people feel good, because I never had really that for myself. So, I don't know.
Okay, well here.
I'm rambling because I don't
No,
really.
but you pointed out something that I think a lot of couples probably deal with, but probably don't talk about it, and you guys are willing to, I know, because as soon as I ask you, we'll hear about it. Jewish,
Yeah.
not Jewish.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a significant issue, right? Could be for a
Not
lot of
really.
people.
Could be for
But-
some.
My
How do you guys deal with that?
My first husband wasn't Jewish, but for me, Judaism is more of traditions.
Okay.
I believe in God. Jesus isn't a character in my book, so that's not really a thing for me. But it's more the morals and 10 Commandments and food, tradition food. When I met Carrick, I told him, Carrick and I met online, the way these kids meet these days. And really it was, for me, it's just, I'm not gonna go to church. My kids are what their mother is, and that's pretty much it. But I don't go to temple either. So it's more, let's just not be assholes and live a life of making sure our children aren't assholes.
Carrick?
Yeah, I mean, it was a complete non-issue for me. I mean, I'm not religious, but I was intrigued by Robin was, I think, certainly the first Jewish girl that I'd ever.
In Fredericksburg.
No, that's I've
These
met
guys
at
are
least
like,
one
what's
other.
a Jew?
I've met another
We've
one.
never seen one before.
It was a non-issue, but I was intrigued. In fact, I was intrigued. Robin mentioned that I think the coolest. I've been to Israel before, and the food is just off the charts good. I mean,
Okay.
it is fantastic.
Mediterranean food is
Food is just it's so good. And so for me, it was like, okay, I'm fascinated to learn more. Also, what recipes do you have? Let's go over
Right,
that.
right.
And in fact, one of the first big meals Robin cooked was a traditional Jewish meal.
I haven't really cooked for him since. That was almost 3 years ago.
I mean, I got sick. I got sick the same time. It wasn't food poisoning, but it was a delicious meal. But we've actually done.
That's your story, and you're sticking to it.
I'm sticking to it.
He was sick before.
It wasn't food poisoning.
He was sick before, but no, I feel like for both of us, we share similar.
We have shared perspective on a lot of things.
Shared perspective of life,
Worldview.
of things,
Yeah.
views,
Worldview, yeah.
Both political, religious, parenting. That's a big one. Shared perspective on, I don't know. We have so much in common that you wouldn't assume that we would, I guess, if you met us separately. But we have a ton of things in common that religion's just a non-issue. We actually celebrate Hanukkah because Carrick is obsessed with a lot of things in the Jewish religion.
It's true.
So it's worked out. Whatever.
I love it.
I'll get him a yarmulke. Are you guys like, what's that?
No.
You're like, maybe.
All right, so Brian, I know I keep going here, but I want to ask this question. So when we watch you guys, I feel like in your relationship,
Okay.
as well as in your professional lives, you are just getting started. I really do feel like that. That this is you're starting to build up some. I mean, you're started, but I mean, in the grand scheme of all the things that you could potentially accomplish, you're just getting started. So if that's true, fast forward 20 years. Where are you? What are you doing? What are you doing in 20 years?
Hopefully alive.
Alive together.
Together.
Happy.
Yeah. We would have
Okay.
we would have passed both of our previous marriages at that point, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think do we have a long-term roadmap beyond the next 5 years? No. I think, one, it's any plan made beyond 3 years is probably a waste of time. Strategic planning, that's great, but anything 5 years and out, there's...
Your question sucks.
And now life gets in the way of all the best plans, right? And so that's, I mean, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, would I be sitting here with my wife
This
talking
beautiful woman.
talking on a
It's your
podcast
second
about the
wife.
successful boutique studio we started, that never would have been part of
In
the
a
equation.
million years,
Well,
wouldn't
we
happen.
Never would have
weren't-
been on there.
we
You're
weren't
like a what?
We weren't together
what?
then.
Exactly.
So Brian, I have an observation
Right.
that I want to share with you
All right.
while they listen. So I asked them, where do you see yourself in 20 years? And they didn't say, well, we're business magnets that have taken over the world with our billion-dollar companies.
I've already said
Although that may
I
be.
think that sometimes.
But what they did say was alive, happy, together. I mean, it was all about the relationship.
Right.
That's an interesting
gonna say
insight, whether
something-
you meant it or not.
I'm going to say something kind of cheesy.
All right.
So Carrick's the better speaker. I always have all this jumbo in my head, and it's okay. I feel like every day with Carrick is like a different adventure, for lack of a better word, because I hate that word. But I feel like with Carrick, I'm always gonna have everything that we need. He's like he's a caregiver. He takes care of me in the sense of he supports me. Oh, you have a dream? Okay, here, throw out your scatterbrained ideas and then let's go. So if I have a list of 1 through 8, Carrick has a list 1 through 8. He would go 1 through 8. I'm like 1, 8, skip 3, 4, but we come to the same, conclusion at the end. And I feel like he's just getting started in the sense of, all right, the military's behind him, shitty first marriage behind him, awesome second marriage right here in front of him. No, mostly his full potential is coming out. He's realizing what he loves, what he's good at, and I'm realizing what I love and what I'm good at, and we're fusing them together. And so Fredericksburg, just wait. We're taking over. No. I think we have a lot of good ideas. We're at least stuck in Fredericksburg for the next 10 years.
Invested.
Stuck.
Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
Stuck. Well, let's not use the word stuck.
Invested.
Yeah.
So, I feel like for us, we enjoy working. You'll never find one of us napping, sitting down. Like, we're always on the go. We always have another idea. Oh, here's Sweat. Already we're talking about expanding. Oh, here's this. Here's another idea I have because of another passion. So we're always, when we sit down at night and everyone else is, watching TV and laying around, we're discussing, like, what do you want to do next? We know that we have 6 kids between the two of us. We rarely get a break, maybe 24 hours every other weekend. So we're not going away. We're not going on vacation. We're not traveling the world just yet. So until we get to that point, we're going to make sure we keep busy and have all these amazing things that we have our hands in.
So one of the observations that I have in that, right, so in the conversation and the body language and so on is something that we talk about on the podcast or have several times is mindfulness and enjoying today. Don't get so wrapped up in where you're going or where you've been that you let it destroy the here and now. And I think you guys are certainly living that as an example.
Try.
And you also mentioned Carrick and being out of the military now. Carrick's Marine. And I told him I was going to ask him this question about his transition from being an active duty Marine to being a civilian Marine. Now notice I didn't throw ex or former in there anywhere because there's no freaking such thing as an ex or former Marine. You are a Marine on active duty or Marine reservist or Marine in civilian life, and you're always a Marine. So anyways, what was that experience like transitioning? Because it's fairly recent.
Yeah, it was. I left active duty in 2016, early part of 16, went into the reserves for another 3.5 years or so, and then actually transitioned completely. So So there was, for me, I had shortly before leaving, I'd say within about 18 months before I left active duty, I'd actually started my own consulting company. I was doing technology consulting on the side. And that was my way of testing the waters to say, do I think the grass is greener on the other side? I mean, I knew at some point I would have to retire or transition, but I didn't know when that was going to be. And I said I would stay in the service until I wanted to do something else. And that was literally the long-term plan. There was no long-term plan. And so I was 12 years in. I was a major at the time, and I had started my own little sort of technology consulting service on the side, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Not because of the pay, not because of because it was very flexible, it was very agile, and some of the frustrations I had in working in a very large organization were at times it's a very slow organization to move, and that's deliberate. But for me, I was a bit of an organizational misfit at that time in my life, and so I said, all right, well, I'm gonna look at transitioning. So I had already had lined up a job up in Arlington. I'd left Quantico. I was living in Fredericksburg, and was getting ready to do that horrific commute that many people do. I was not looking forward to it, but I at least said, well, I'll try that. I'll give it a year, and that's what I said. I said I'll give it a year, and we'll go from there. It just so happened that one of the guys that I worked with in the past, when I was a researcher out in NPS, he worked for the Marine Corps, and he said, hey, you ought to come down and have a beer with this guy Ryan. Ryan was the former CEO of IST Research, and so I didn't know much about them. I'd heard of him, and I knew he and I had similar paths. So I went down to actually at Sedona Tap House in Fredericksburg, had a beer, and 36 hours later I was working for them. Or I'd actually declined my offer that I had with another company, said I was going to go to work for IST, and then I transitioned right there. I think because of because I transitioned into an organization that had. I mean, Ryan was a Marine, and Scott is still a Marine, actually, and that was very helpful because they'd already done that transition. So I found essentially a mentor, somebody that I could say, here are the things the uncertainty that I have. Help me through. What was it like going through your experience in that? So, if anything that you can take out of that, I would say for me it was one. I tested the waters a little bit beforehand. Not everyone has the flexibility or ability to do that. And then the other was finding somebody else who had already gone through that transition process that I could answer. So I could ping them with questions, say, hey, I don't understand. I don't understand how healthcare works because I always had TRICARE, and to me it was just, I have to go up to the facility, and that was it. Yeah. So help me better understand all of these things that I have questions about, and that's what really worked for me quite well.
Yeah. Yeah, the power of a mentor, you can't talk enough about that. I mean, that's absolutely outstanding. So good, very good.
Yeah, there's so much goodness in all of this. I was replaying in my head all of the wisdom of the ages that's coming out through this conversation for couples, for professional goals, for being in the moment, for being yourself. All of these things are just coming through you guys. And
we didn't even have to bring our gray beards for
No. And
we should have gray beards that people have to put on.
That should be some merch. I have like a lot of merch ideas for you guys.
We want bobblehead dolls.
We are totally going to pick your brain on the merch thing. Absolutely.
I found in with Sweat, I'm very, if you have to describe me, I'm whatever stereotype of like a white Jewish girl from like New York City, like the North. I'm very bougie. I'm a little snobby, but also very down to earth. So I found my niche in all the merch at Sweat. It like, for some reason, it flies off the shelf. I mean, I'm not mad about it, but I found I enjoy like the design things. Mm-hmm. So all these things that I enjoyed, I'm like, where would I ever do that? Because I don't have any formal training in it. I just, hey, Carrick, we should do this, and I'll design it, and then I'll put that on my like resume. So Sweat was a mashup of things in my head that I blurted out, and then getting some people together, we were able to turn it into life, and then same with our merch. So I got some merch ideas.
We are
for the graybeards,
and that will not go unacted upon. I promise.
Definitely interested to hear.
Right.
And
my hourly rate is very affordable.
Outstanding. This would be a good time to call out our new background. Thank you, Kevin, for working with the folks at Virginia T-Shirt, right?
Yep.
We mentioned those guys and the hats that they helped us out with here recently, and we also got this background from them. And don't forget to check them out, vatshirt.com. And thank you again, Kevin, for taking time to get that thing set
And the best
up.
part is you can flip it around the other side, and it's a different background. So you'll be seeing
Stay
us
tuned
mixing
for
it up.
background number two.
Background
That's
number
really
two.
keeping them on the edge.
Yes, it is.
When are they going to turn it around?
Oh no, yeah, we might should have gotten a bigger one, but no, this is good. I like it a lot.
My mind is all over the place as you guys have chatted. But Carrick, something that you said that I think I'm probably going to be taken away for myself personally. One of the things I love about having guests on the podcast is you learn about what makes people tick, and there's so many things that Bryant and I get out of this, much more than anybody else, and it makes me continuously reevaluate things I'm doing in my life and getting better at it all the time. But you said anything beyond 3 years, you're probably just kind of, why even bother, right? I mean, you can kind of think about it, but I actually like that, because that's truly, as I think about my own life, you kind of think where you're going to, what you're doing. I mean, obviously you know what you're doing for the next year, probably a couple years. You get beyond 3, it's starting to.
It's really hazy.
There's so many twists and turns. Yeah. All right, so back to some fundamental principles for you guys, just for a second. How do you define success? I think I know what you're going to say, and I want to hear this from both of you. How do you define success?
I need Carrick to go first so I can
think about it.
Well, there's success in a relationship. There's success in a business. There's success in.
What specifically is successful about your relationship? Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, I'd say
we had someone phone in.
Oh yeah, caller number 4. For me, success in relationship. Robin and I have both had previous relationships that didn't work, and I often joke that there's only 2 ways a relationship ends: you either break up or you die. That's it. Those are the only 2 conclusions of any relationship. So I'd rather be in the latter category here, and successfully together, growing as a couple, growing individually, and then it just so happens we also have business interests together, and seeing where that goes. So for me, success is, are we successful in our relationship? Are we being successful in raising a family? A blended family where we don't have entitled assholes when they grow up, where they're actually contributing members of society. That's the goal as a parent.
Yeah.
God bless you for that.
And then
we're working on it.
And then on the business side, financial success and independence would be it's great not to have to work for somebody. I still do work for somebody right now.
Right.
Plug for 26 Tech. But I really enjoy that.
That's a plug.
But I really enjoy that. But I ultimately would like to get to the place where we're the ones that call the shots and decide what we want to spend and invest our time in, because we also realize that time is finite, and that's the thing that you can make more money, you can always go do other things, but time runs out eventually, and so there's that component of it as well.
All right, Robin.
Ditto. Is that?
No, that is not acceptable, especially coming from you.
It's an answer, but it's not a good answer.
But I don't know. Success for me, I always thought it was financially. I grew up with doctors. My dad was a doctor. And being able to have the biggest house or have, this material item. I've realized at age 36, 37 that no one gives a shit, because I have all these amazing items, and then I moved to Fredericksburg, Virginia, where people don't care about that stuff like they do in Capitol Hill or DuPont Circle. So I think,
my goodness,
yeah, they're like, I'm sorry, what? I got, yeah, I'm like, I don't know. So I realized, success. I would say in relationship wise, the goal is to become a better version of yourself together and always challenge each other. I feel like Carrick is constantly challenging me to, don't talk about it, be about it. That's his whole thing. Don't talk about it, be about it. You want that? Let's go. And when I met him, I was in a transition of jobs because of, I was separated, I wasn't working full, all these things. And he's like, all right, let's unpack this. What do you want to do? Where do you want to be? And he supported it the whole time. And I feel like having someone that genuinely supports you and loves you is very helpful for success. Not everybody has that. Just in talking with other people and previous relationships, not everybody has that. And honestly, that fucking sucks. If you're not with somebody that supports you in highs and lows, then get the hell out. Business, seriously, relationship advice from Robin 101. That'll be our next podcast.
No, that's powerful. And accurate, I think.
Yeah, I found that I used to put up with such bullshit from people, friends, family, relationships, and I'm not doing that shit anymore. So having somebody that is by your side supporting you, that's first and foremost. With business, I feel like for me, I enjoy going in there every single day, meeting new people, and just being myself. And if you accept that and you come there and our numbers are growing, and we're almost to 400 members, I feel like that's success right there. People are talking about it. People are wearing our shirts. People know who we are. And to me, I love that. And everything about it is positive. There's no like, oh, those people are dirty, or that place is dirt. Like, there's no negative. The only negative people have sometimes, if it's price, I can't help it. We still have to operate and run the business. We are literally at the lowest we could possibly be. If it's the instructors, doubtful. We handpick all of them to make sure that our business is not, compromised in any way. So success, I just feel like it's a personal thing. Are people talking about you in a positive way? And is your relationship always going forward?
Okay.
Does that count?
Yeah.
Woo!
It's a little better than Ditto.
Well, I mean, I just
Certainly a little more involved than Ditto, right?
He speaks so much better. He speaks so, like, normally I'm like, Carrick, help me write this. And then I say what I'm thinking, and then he has this beautiful, concise thing.
I think you don't give yourself enough credit.
She doesn't. She really doesn't.
It comes, you might think it's mixed up in here, but it comes out very articulate.
Okay,
So
all right.
maybe stop saying that, and you'll like the way it comes
I
out.
ramble a lot, but you can just be like, shut the hell up.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, no, absolutely
Usually
good.
I get one of these from Carrick.
So I have no doubt that we're still just scratching the surface here of information that you guys could share with folks that would be beneficial for them. And we try to limit this to an hour show or thereabouts, and I think we're knocking on the door of that. So any parting thoughts that information you came in here knowing you wanted to share with people that you haven't had a chance to share, and certainly that includes you, Kevin. Don't want to leave you out.
No, I just wanted to say, you're exactly right, Brian. We are just scratching the surface on these folks. And this has been fun. It really has. I have thoroughly enjoyed listening to you guys talk about yourselves and your life and all that goes on. And I know I'm carrying away some good stuff for my life, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us on.
The
We've
folks
been through a lot, just the two of us, in terms of together and not together. So I feel like maybe our gray beards are just, well, his is red.
It'll be gray soon.
I have dark hair. I wax.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
That's right.
I wax, but other than that, no, I feel like
Oh wait, no, we should keep
go
going because this is about to get interesting.
yeah, this hair on my head. No, I'm just kidding. It's all over my body. I wax.
Oh, man.
I knew people were wondering if I did or not. So now you know. Now you know. No, but I feel like even though we're not, we're in our 30s, which to me, I'm like, whoa, I'm almost 40 years old. That's wild. I feel like just between the two of us growing up, very similar, and then going through similar experiences have shaped us into being exactly who we want to be. And even though we found each other later in life, we're not having children together. I know everyone wants to see a gorgeous blend of the two of us, but not happening. Come to Sweat, that's our baby. But I feel like you don't have to have 2 kids, the husband, the picket fence. The new normal is the new normal. So that's what we shaped Sweat off of, the new normal during pandemic, and that's literally our life together. It's the new normal. Blended family, 6 fucking kids. I only brought 2 to the table, by the way.
Who gets to define normal anyways?
No,
it's whatever works for you.
It's what works for us. And we went to the pool yesterday with all 6 little assholes, and we're like, can we just not be that family? Because I'm always, and you know what? I don't care. I'll yell at them. We're there. We're there. So I just feel like even though we're, in our 30s, and we also have wisdom to share.
Oh, you do. That's why you're here. There's no doubt about it.
The Robin and Carrick Chronicles. Can't wait to compete with this podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's do it. It will be a complimentary podcast.
Complimentary.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys.
Well, thank you
Absolutely.
for
Thanks
having
for having
us.
Will you come back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't mean to
absolutely.
block Kevin out. This is how I sit, and
Well,
I'm like very into
we
it
are
right
somewhat
now.
limited on space here. I think
Right.
Carrick might be thinking I'm all up in his
yeah.
business
Whoa,
here.
he's
But
married. Watch out. Watch out.
yeah, and I mean I wasn't offended by the rubbing of my leg underneath the table, but it's all good. No, it's just we're
Everyone has
we're
to
little,
have 2 hands.
We're a little we're a little
above the
cramped
whole
here,
time.
but that's all right, man. Good conversation, and thank you guys very much for being here, and
Thanks
we'd
for
love to have
having
you
us.
back. And we mentioned that that event we're having on the 6th of
6th
July.
of July.
Yep. So definitely love to see you guys there.
Our live
absolutely.
2-year anniversary broadcast party.
Do you think people are going
Right.
to be like bringing their autograph book when they see me? Like, oh my God, it's Robin.
I think
There's no doubt
I
about
need
it.
to get your
Yeah,
autograph.
we
Yeah.
actually hadn't thought about security for that day,
Right,
but
right.
are we going to
Right.
need
No.
some, and
You
maybe
might.
some
Yeah.
like cordon off some area to keep
I'm
the
just saying.
paparazzi away and so
I'm
on?
just saying. You, never
You
know.
guys are welcome. All of our guests have special invites
Oh, good. No,
to
yeah.
come. So there you go.
I'll think about it. I have to check my calendar. I'm really busy.
Nice. All right. Well, I thank you, Kevin, for inviting these fine folks and getting the opportunity to meet you guys. So look
betcha.
forward to
You're
more
welcome.
conversations, and I don't know, I might just have to come down there and sweat.
Come check it out.
Well, now it'd be weird if you don't.
I know. I'm
So-
kind of thinking that. Yeah.
You'll be leaving with a membership and a T-shirt.
You got to take
Your
Paula's
tape.
spin class at least once.
Man,
You may decide after that you don't want to come
No,
back.
I'm definitely interested. I can't
She
tell you
is
the last
wild.
time I went to one. It's been a long time.
Right.
I was obsessed with cycling years ago.
Oh, are you talking about Sweat? It's all ages, all stages.
Yeah.
Everything's scalable. I know the owners and would love to have you.
I know the owners.
Veteran owned and operated.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something you support.
I was sold a long time ago.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep putting it on, man. We're good. All right. So,
Don't forget to push the button.
what button? This button here?
That's right.
So when we close this out by saying, no matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, make sure between this episode and the next, you take time to enjoy the ride.
But I wish I knew you guys were saying that so I could do it too.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.